This is Story Recapped. Today, I'm going to explain a comedy, sci-fi film called Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. As the sun begins to set in Japan, Kato bids the last customer of his cafe goodbye and tells Aya, the bartender, that it's time to close. As he prepares to go home, Aya asks him if he practiced well for his musical performance later that night. Kato quips that he'll shout out to his fans before exiting the cafe through the back door and goes to his apartment upstairs. Inside his home, Kato tries to practice for the performance, but he can't find his guitar pick. While he searches for the item, a video coming from the monitor calls his attention. Kato turns around and sees himself on the screen. The Kato on the screen explains that he is living 2 minutes ahead in the future and plays a word chain game with him to prove that they are having a real-time conversation. Afterward, he reveals that Kato's guitar pick is beneath the rug and tells him that he learned it from the future. He notes that the TV at the cafe and his monitor in his apartment are linked with a 2-minute delay. He instructs Kato to return to the cafe to explain the situation to his past self. Kato goes to the monitor in the cafe and sees himself on screen searching for the guitar pick. The conversation he had with himself 2 minutes ago repeats, but he is on the other side of the monitor this time. After the conversation, Kato realizes that he must be dreaming, so he returns to his apartment. Upon his return, however, the Kato from the future assures him that he's not in a dream. The future Kato warns his past self that he might run into a problem soon because Komiya is outside the cafe. Future Kato then advises his past self to hide as Komiya enters the shop, but he stays put. Not long after, Aya and Komiya notice him on their monitor while the future Kato is standing there next to them. They deduce that he must be making a YouTube video, but the two are startled when he engages them in a conversation while he's physically with them at that exact moment. After a while, the future Kato tells him that he must return to the cafe because 2 minutes have almost passed. Kato immediately goes down and sees Komiya arriving on his bike. He explains to his past self through the monitor that he's not dreaming and warns him about Komiya's arrival. Afterward, Kato just stands back and watches as Komiya and Aya speak to his past self on the monitor. After Kato tells his past self to return to the cafe, Komiya asks him how Kato managed to engage himself in a real-time conversation. Aya surmises that the monitor must be a time TV. Kato has a hard time explaining the paradox, so they all head to his apartment to see the other end of the monitor. On the way, Komiya calls a friend and asks him to go to the cafe to see Kato's time TV. After hanging up, Komiya tells Kato that Tanabe and Ozawa will be stopping by. As soon as they get inside the apartment, the trio sees themselves on the other end of the monitor, with Tanabe and Ozawa. They see the future Komiya explaining the time TV to the new arrivals and urging them to start a conversation with the trio on the other side of the monitor. The future Aya then urges her past self to send a sticker to Ozawa on the phone. After the past Aya sends the sticker, Ozawa checks his phone and verifies that he received it 2 minutes ago. In another demonstration, Komiya asks Tanabe to name any object and he will take it out of his pocket. When Tanabe asks him for ketchup, he pulls it out of his pocket and instructs his past self to obtain the item. The past Komiya then asks Kato where to find the ketchup, so Kato instructs him to go to the fridge. The future Komiya then tells the trio to hurry and get back to the cafe because almost 2 minutes have passed. After getting the ketchup bottle, the trio rushes out of the apartment and finds Tanabe and Ozawa outside. The trio soon demonstrates the time TV to Ozawa and Tanabe as they saw it on the monitor 2 minutes ago. Afterward, Tanabe and Ozawa head to Kato's apartment to experience the paradox themselves. Kato tries to stop them and stresses that they shouldn't have knowledge of the future. However, the pair insists on seeing the monitor for themselves, so they all head back to the apartment. Once inside, they see Ozawa, Tanabe, and Komiya on the monitor, offering to answer any questions about the future. When past Tanabe shows them his scratch card, his future self instructs him to scratch the leftmost item. The past Tanabe is delighted upon learning that he won a sleeping bag. Aya remembers that Kato wanted to invite his neighbor, Megumi, to his show later, but he's too shy. So they ask future Kato what will happen if he invites her. The future Kato gleefully informs him that Megumi agreed to watch his performance. The group soon leaves the apartment to return to the cafe. Kato then goes to the barbershop next door to invite Megumi to his show. However, Megumi tells him that she won't come because she's not interested in music. The disappointed Kato then heads back to the cafe and tells Aya that Megumi turned him down. Aya tells him to go to the time TV to tell his past self that Megumi will come because he can't change what they saw on the monitor earlier. Kato then pretends to be happy and tells his past self that Megumi accepted his invitation. The rest of the group soon make plans to ask themselves questions about the future, but Aya notes that they won't gain much information. She discloses that she went back to the room to ask her future self about Japan's next era, but she didn't get an answer because the time TV can only see 2 minutes into the future. Komiya soon notices that Kato seems depressed, so Aya tells him that Megumi rejected him, but he lied to his past self to keep the timeline consistent. The group soon realizes that 2 minutes is too short to gain substantial information. Suddenly, Ozawa comes up with an idea to extend the reach of the Time TV. After drawing a diagram on a chalkboard, Ozawa and Tanabe make their way to Kato's apartment. Aya follows them and encounters 2 men in brown trench coats on her way to the cafe. They try to talk to her, but she tells them that the cafe is already closed. Upon entering Kato's room, they see the future Ozawa on the Time TV, with multiple screens behind him. The future Ozawa in the first screen introduces himself, noting that he's 2 minutes ahead in the future. In an inner screen, another Ozawa notes that he's 4 minutes ahead in the future. The next screen shows the Time TV covered with a blanket. Ozawa realizes that his idea works, so he takes the monitor in the apartment and brings it to the cafe. He notes that they'll face it towards the other monitor, so that they would mirror each other and show the far future. As soon as they put the monitors in front of each other, Ozawa sits in front of the screen to talk to his past self. Not long after, his past self takes the monitor in the apartment and carries it to the cafe. After his past self sets the monitor down, they see their past selves 4 minutes into the past on an inner screen. Ozawa then informs the group on the inner screen that he's 4 minutes into the future. As the group in the inner screen repeats what happened 4 minutes into the past, Ozawa covers the screen that came from Kato's apartment with a blanket. Ozawa explains to the group that he mirrored the 2 screens to create the Drost effect, a type of art that shows a picture recursively appearing within itself. Komiya surmises that the Time TV would allow them to see 5 to 10 years into the future, but Ozawa points out that they can't see that far because they can only see 2 minutes ahead with each monitor, and the view gets smaller with each recursion. Komiya soon suggests taking off the blanket and jokes that they might see the world coming to an end. Kato tells him not to look because it might not end well, but Komiya encourages him by noting that he might end up dating Megumi. When they take off the blanket, they see several devastated buildings on the screen. The image changes in just a few moments, and the future Kato appears on the screen, followed by Tanabe, who tells him that they've just been pranked. In the far inner screen, Ozawa in the far future tells the present Ozawa to go to the toy vending machine because he will get a zebra pill bug. As Ozawa prepares to head out of the cafe, he expresses his excitement about getting the item, noting that it's incredibly rare. After he leaves, Tanabe notes that Ozawa is wasting the Time TV's potential because they can ask their future selves for more useful information. Kato attempts to return to his apartment because he's not interested in seeing the future, but Aya stops him because she recalled that Kato took part in the prank on the Time TV. Komiya sees the poster with a picture of the devastated buildings on the wall, so he hands it to Kato, who unenthusiastically holds it in front of the screen. After sending a message to their past selves, Komiya and Tanabe express concern that the future might be controlling them because they feel obligated to copy the actions of their future selves. However, they still make plans to make money with information from the Time TV. They soon figure that some of their ideas require them to stay in the cafe for months, so they limit their plans to gain information a few hours into the future. Not long after, Aya, Komiya, and Tanabe ask their future selves where they can find some money. When they look in the monitor, the future Tanabe 4 minutes ahead shows them a bundle of cash. The future Komiya notes that they found it inside a VCR player hidden in the trash under the station overpass. The 3 leave Kato alone in the cafe to get the money from the station. Soon after the trio leaves, Megumi enters the cafe to give Kato a symbol that her friend left at her house long ago. Kato discloses that he doesn't play drums, but he notes that he can give the symbol to their drummer. When Megumi notices the trio speaking on the Time TV, Kato asks her to ignore it, since he can't sufficiently explain what it is. Moments later, a man appears on the inner screen, threatening Komiya with a knife. Afterward, they see the future Megumi begging another man to let her go while she's being dragged away. As she tries to resist, future Kato appears on an inner screen vowing to save her. Megumi is puzzled after seeing herself on the monitor, knowing that what they saw on the monitor will soon occur. Kato urges Megumi to go straight home, but Megumi insists on finding out what she saw on the screen. Aya, Komiya, and Tanabe soon arrive with the VCR. Kato then confesses to Megumi that the screen shows them the future and it doesn't look good for her, so he urges her to go home. The trio then shows him the cash that they got from the VCR and head to the Time TV to give their past selves instructions on where to find the money. Not long after, 2 goons enter the cafe and ask Tanabe about the bundle of cash in his hand. Furuya tells them that a youngster from their agency fled with the money and hid it in a place only his crew knows about. Narita contends that the man put the money in a VCR player. Kato claims that his friends found the money by chance and offers to return it, but Narita punches him in the face. The men refuse to believe that they found the cash by chance, so they want to talk to them in their office upstairs. Moments later, the screen starts showing the moment that they gave their past selves instructions on where to find the cash. After Tanabe hands over the money, Narita holds a knife to Komiya's face as he continues to insist that they just found the money. As Furuya drags Megumi out of the cafe, future Kato appears on the screen 4 minutes into the future promising to save her. Aya tells Kato that they must be taking Megumi to their office on the 5th floor. Kato arms himself with a knife and tries to go after them, but Komiya and Tanabe stop him. Soon, Ozawa arrives with the zebra pill bug. Aya immediately tells him about what happened, and Ozawa later watches the incident unfold on the past monitor. Ozawa then notices that the footage on the future monitor is moving, so he figures out that Kato will attempt to save Megumi in 2 minutes. After instructing his past self to get the zebra pill bug, Ozawa instructs Kato to take the past monitor so they can watch him from the screen that he sees in the future. As Kato carries the past monitor upstairs, he sees Megumi being dragged away 4 minutes into the past, so he stops to promise her that he'll soon come to her rescue. As he goes on his way, Aya catches up to him and puts the ketchup in his front pocket. Afterward, Komiya puts the symbol on his back. Before Kato reaches the 5th floor, Tanabe gives him the zebra pill bug and tells him to use it when the goons attack him. He tells Kato that he was super cool when he rescued Megumi, but Kato notes that it hasn't happened yet. Kato enters the office as the goons are tying Megumi to the sofa. Kato puts down the monitor and pleads with the goons to release Megumi. When Narita pulls out a knife, Kato charges at him and gets stabbed. After Kato drops to the floor, Furuya castigates Narita, noting that they aren't supposed to kill anyone. As they argue, Kato gets up and hits Narita in the head. He then pulls out the bottle of ketchup that got punctured by the knife. The past Ozawa then instructs Aya to put the ketchup in Kato's front pocket. Furuya then pulls out a revolver and shoots Kato, but the symbol catches the bullet. Kato then hands the zebra pill bug to Furuya. When he opens up the toy, he staggers back to the chair due to his fear of bugs. Megumi and Kato soon head out of the office, taking the monitor with them. On their way down, they find Tanabe unconscious on the floor. In the monitor, they see the past Aya and Ozawa dropping to the ground after speaking with someone off screen. As Kato rushes to the cafe, he finds Komiya unconscious by the stairs. Kato and Megumi soon arrive at the cafe, where they find the 2 men in trench coats waiting for them. Kinjo tells them not to worry about their friends because they're just taking a quick nap. Ishizuka then reveals that they came from the far future and they work for the Time and Space Bureau. The monitors have caused an immense time-space disturbance, which is considered a crime. Ishizuka notes that they will just give them a warning, since they didn't profit from it. They further reveal that they intend to give them a memory-wiping agent, so they won't remember anything that happened that evening. Megumi and Kato seem reluctant, but Ishizuka sees them already taking the substance on the monitor. Kato tells him that he doesn't want to take the substance, but Ishizuka warns him that he could destroy the future. Megumi soon stands before the monitor and prepares to ingest the substance, but she sneezes and scatters the powder. Kato also sneezes, instead of taking the memory-wiping agent. As the 2 men scramble to prepare another dose, they slowly fade out of existence. While Kato waits for his friends to wake up, he offers Megumi a cup of coffee. Megumi asks why he hates the future, so Kato explains that he once heard Nostradamus' prophecy, which predicts the world's end in 1999. He didn't plan for the future because of it, but the world remained intact. He stopped planning for the future again when he heard about the Mayan calendar predicting the world's end in 2012. Kato notes that he no longer wants to know the future, because it ends up controlling him. Megumi notes that she's not eager to know about her future as well. She reveals that she once dated a musician who always talked about their future together and even wrote lyrics about them, but he quickly forgot about her when his band got famous. As they discuss what happened in the past hour, their future selves appear on the monitor a few minutes into the future, only to turn off the Time TV.
This is all for Story Recapped for today. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Tell us in the comments if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Watch other of our videos showing on the screen and leave a like because it helps the channel. And I would see you in the next video. Goodbye.